Hi learners, in today's video, we are going to learn about economics third chapter, money and credit. This chapter will be very simple and interesting, which is purely based on your everyday life. In exam point of view, this chapter is important for 1 and 3 marks. And the statements in the question paper would be confusing a lot, so listen carefully and make a clear notes on all the topics. Let us start. In the ancient time, there was no money. The paper currency which we are using now, the coins which we are using now, were not existing then. Then, how people were purchasing goods and services? They simply exchanged the goods and services without using money. For example, two of your friends, Raja and Mohan. Raja is having eraser which Mohan needs. And Mohan is having a book which Raja needs. So what they will do? They will simply exchange their goods. Raja will give eraser to Mohan and Mohan will give books to Raja. So they were exchanging eraser and book without using money. So this is called as barter system. So exchanging goods and services without involving money is called as barter system. But here there comes a problem. What is that? Both the parties should agree to buy each other's goods. That is called as double coincidence of wants. For example, we discussed about Raja and Mohan, right? So Raja is giving eraser to Mohan. But if Mohan says, I don't want eraser, I want book, which is of different content. So what they will do? They cannot exchange their goods. Mohan is already having a book and he needs another book. But Raja is having eraser but he needs the book which is with Mohan. Here, there is no double coincidence of wants, so this barter system gets failed. To be more clear, there is a shoe seller and there is a watch seller. Shoe seller is in the need of watch and the watch seller is in the need of shoe. So both the persons are meeting together and they are exchanging their goods. Shoe seller is giving shoe to the watch seller and getting watch instead of that. So this is called as double coincidence of wants. Why it is called as double coincidence of wants? Double represents two parties or two persons. Coincidence of wants. Coincidentally, both of them are in the need of goods each of them are having. So this is called as double coincidence of wants. When both the parties agrees to buy and sell each other's goods is called as double coincidence of wants. Just apply the statement to this definition. Shoe seller and watch seller are the two parties. Shoe seller agrees to buy watch and sell shoe. So this is called as double coincidence of wants. Are you clear, children? And if there is a problem, the shoe seller is in the need of watch, but the watch seller, he is not in the need of shoe, but he needs a book. Can both of these people exchange their goods? Definitely not. So here, double coincidence of wants failed and hence barter system cannot happen. Barter system means they need to exchange their goods. If they want to exchange their goods, both the parties should agree to buy and sell each other's goods. But here, one party doesn't need the good, other party sells. So here, double coincidence of wants failed and hence barter system can never happen. So this is the main drawback lying with barter system. So in 1 mark question, they will be asking you, what is the main factor essential for barter system to be successful? The factor essential is double coincidence of wants. If both the parties agree to buy and sell, only then barter system can happen. Next, medium of exchange. Money is called as medium of exchange. So now we are talking about the current scenario. If you want to buy anything, if you want to sell anything, we are using money now. So money is very much positive one when it comes for exchanging goods. We don't want to check for barter system. We don't want to check for double coincidence of wants. If there is no money, every time you need to go and check for a person who is selling a good which you need, and the good which you are selling should be purchased by the same person. But it is practically impossible. All the time both the parties will not be in the need of same goods and services they are selling and buying. For that purpose there was an introduction of money then, which is practically helpful for all the transactions. So here, if you want to buy something, you can give that money and you can buy the good. And that person, if he needs something else, he can use that money and he can buy that thing. So here it is very positive one for exchanging. As money is used as intermediate in all the transactions, money is also called as medium of exchange. In exam they will be asking you why money is called as medium of exchange, because it is intermediate for all the transactions. Evolution of currency. Evolution means stage by stage development. Child to teen to adult to old person. So this is evolution. Likewise, there is evolution for currency as well. First, they were using barter system where they exchanged grains and cattle. Mostly grains and cattle were exchanged because they were very useful. After some time, coins were introduced. The types of coins they used were gold, silver, bronze and copper. So usage of coins are very much evident during king's rule. And after that, modern currency introduced. So the paper currency which we are using now is called as modern currency. This is evolution of currency which carries 3 marks. Why money is accepted as a medium of exchange? So if you check in the ancient times, cattle and grains were exchanged. By using cattle, we can get meat, we can get milk. By using grains, we can cook, we can eat. So both things were very much useful for them. But what about the paper currency which we are using now? It is not useful like grain or cattle. But we are giving that much value to the paper currency. Why money is accepted as a medium of exchange? Why do you think it is accepted, children? Because it is authorized by the government. The government said money should be used as a medium of exchange, and hence we are following so. So here you would be confused with 2 statements. Why money is called as medium of exchange and why money is accepted as a medium of exchange. Why it is called as medium of exchange means it is an intermediate, that is why it is called as medium of exchange. Why we accepted it as a medium of exchange means because the government authorized it and hence we accepted it. So be very clear with these 2 statements. And in 1 mark, if they ask you why money is accepted means, you should write because it is authorized by the government. This is for 1 mark. If they are asking you this question in 3 mark, then you need to add about RBI. Like we are having central government for entire country, we are having a head of all the banks, that is RBI, Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank of India is responsible for printing and issuing currency. No other person or no other organization has the right to print or issue currency. At the same time, you have no right to refuse accepting money. If you are buying a good and for that you need to give money. If the shopkeeper says, no, I don't want money, I just need some other object, he can get arrested because there is no right given to any human being to refuse accepting money. The government itself authorized the usage of money as a medium of exchange. No person has the right to refuse using money. Clear, children? So which authority is responsible for printing and issuing currency? RBI, Reserve Bank of India. Deposits in banks. Just check with your parents how much amount they have deposited in the bank. Just inquire them what is the procedure for depositing money in the bank and start immediately. So every person, they are earning a particular amount every month. For example, 50,000. Definitely the person can never spend 50,000 all at once if he is very cautious about money. So if he is spending 20,000 money, remaining 30,000, what he will be doing? He will be depositing it in the bank. For that, he should go to the bank first. He should open an account on his name and he will be depositing amount in his name. And if his money is saved for a particular period of time, the bank will give interest to the deposit amount. If you are depositing 500 rupees in a bank, if you are not taking the money back for a month, you will be getting 5 to 10 rupees as interest for it. Clear? So if you are depositing money in the bank will give interest to you because it is your money. You are giving your money to the bank. So bank will gives you interest. And any time you can take your deposited amount with interest. And that is called as demand deposits. Why it is called as demand deposits? Because the amount deposited by you can be withdrawn on demand anytime. You can demand the bank to give your money back. So that is called as demand deposits. The deposited amount can be withdrawn on demand and it is called as demand deposits. Write a note on this definition. Now, moneyless transactions. If I want to give you 50,000, but I don't want to give cash in your hands because I'm not sure you will be using it carefully. For that, I have an option. What is that? By using a paper which is very much worthy. Do you know what is that? It is check. So what is meant by check? A check is a paper instructing the bank to give an amount to the person whose name is mentioned in the check. Clear? This is the definition of a check. So just take a checkbook and see. In the checkbook, there will be account number of a person. For example, if you are opening an account in the bank, they will give you a checkbook. In that checkbook, each check leaf will be having your account number. Date will be there. Amount column will be there and your signature will be there and a space will be given for writing a person's name. If you want to give 50,000 rupees to your friend without using cash, you can settle it by using a check paper. Just take a check leaf from the checkbook which is having your account number. Where there is a space for name, you should write the person's name to whom you want to settle the amount. And in the rupees column, write the amount you want to give. And then you want to give your sign in the checkbook on the bottom right corner and give a date where you are writing the check. So the person to whom you want to settle the amount, instead of amount, you want to give this filled check. That person will be taking the check leaf and he will be going to the bank and he will be getting the amount from the bank from your account. So this is the use of check. Without money, you can make transactions with the help of check. So it is a paper and it is the instruction given to the bank. Instead of you going to the bank, you are sending a paper which is an evidence that you are going to give money to that person. Instructing the bank to give a specified amount mentioned in the check to the person whose name is mentioned in the check. Are you clear with this, children? So make a note on this definition as well. So today's class we discussed about these terms. Exchanging goods and services without money is barter system. If the barter system needs to be successful, double coincidence of wants is necessary. where both the parties agrees to buy and sell each other's goods. Money is called as medium of exchange because it is intermediate in all the transactions. Evolution of currency. Earlier, exchanging goods, then coins, then modern currency. We accepted money as a medium of exchange because the government has authorized it. The amount which is deposited by me can be withdrawn anytime on demand, which is called as demand deposits. Moneyless transactions can be made by using check, which is a paper instructing the bank to give an amount to the person whose name is specified in the check. So make a note on all these definitions clearly, study the definitions immediately, be thorough with it. Happy learning!